the apocryphal book of the Bible called Bel and the Dragon. And King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all his friends. Now the Babylons had an idol called Bel, and there were spent upon him every day 12 measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. And the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own God. And the king said unto him, Why dost not thou worship Bel? Who answered and said, Because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who hath created heaven and the earth, and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king unto him, Thinkest thou not that Bel is a living God? Seest thou not how much he eats and drink every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within, and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. And so the king was wroth, and he called for his priests and said unto them, If ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. But if you can certify me that Bel devoureth them, then Daniel shall die, for he hath spoken blasphemy against Bel. And Daniel said unto the king, Let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of Bel were 70, besides their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Bel. So Bel's priest said, Lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat, and make ready the wine, and shut the door fast, and seal it with thine own signet. And tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that it hath eaten up all, we will suffer death. Or else, Daniel, that speaketh falsely against us. And they little regarded it, for under the table they had made privy an entrance, whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. So, when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Bel. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple in the presence of the king alone. Then they went out and shut the door and sealed it with the king's signet, and so departed. Now, in the night came the priests and their wives and children, as they were wont to do, and did eat and drink up all. And in the morning betime the king arose, and Daniel with him. And the king said, Daniel, are the seals whole? And Daniel said, O king, they be whole. And as soon as he had opened the door, the king looked upon the table and cried with a loud voice, Great art thou, O Bel, and with thee is no deceit at all. Then laughed Daniel and held that the king should not go in, and said, Behold now the pavement, and mark well whose footsteps are these. And the king said, I see footsteps of men, women, and children. And the king was very angry. He took the priests and their wives and the children who showed him the privy doors where they came in, and consumed such things as were upon the table. Therefore the king slew them, and delivered Bel unto Daniel's power, who destroyed him and his temple. And in that same place there was a great dragon, which they of Babylon worshipped. And the king said unto Daniel, Wilt thou also say that this is of brass? Lo, he liveth, he eateth, and he drinketh. Thou cannot say that he is no living God. Therefore, worship him. Then said Daniel to the king, I will worship the Lord my God, for he is the living God. But give me leave, O king, and I shall slay this dragon without sword or staff. The king said, I give thee leave. Then Daniel took pitch and fat and hair and did seethe them together and make lumps thereof. This he put in the dragon's mouth, and so the dragon burst in sunder. And Daniel said, Lo, these are the gods ye worship. And when they of Babylon heard that, they took great indignation and conspired against the king, saying, The king has become a Jew, and he hath destroyed Baal. He hath slain the dragon, and he put the priest to death. So they came to the king and said, Deliver us, Daniel, or else we will destroy thee and thine house. Now when the king saw that they pressed him sore, being constrained, he delivered Daniel to them, who cast him into the lion's den, where he was 6 days. And in the den there were 7 lions, and they had given them every day 2 carcasses and 2 sheep, which they were not given to them to the intent that they may devour Daniel. Now there was in Jewry a prophet called Habakkuk, who had made pottage and had broken bread in a bowl, and was going into the field to bring it to the reapers. But the angel of the Lord said unto Habakkuk, Go, carry the dinner that thou hast into Babylon unto Daniel, who is in the lion's den. And Habakkuk said, Lord, I never saw Babylon, neither do I know where the den is. Then the angel of the Lord took him by the crown, and bare him by the hair of his head, and through the vehemency of his spirit set him in Babylon over the den. And Habakkuk cried, saying, O Daniel, Daniel, take the dinner which God has sent thee. And Daniel said, Thou hast remembered me, O God. Neither hast thou forsaken them that seek thee and love thee. So Daniel arose and did eat, and the angel of the Lord set Habakkuk in his own place again immediately. Upon the 7th day the king went to bewail Daniel. And when he came to the den, he looked in, and behold, Daniel was sitting. Then the king cried with a loud voice, saying, Great art, Lord God of Daniel, and there is none other besides thee. And he drew him out, and he cast those that were the cause of his destruction into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before his face. The end of the book of Bel and the Dragon.